In our Sunrise Smart Start, a fight between two juvenile males yesterday in Webster involved a shotgun.
A portion of East Main Street was shut down for several hours, and police from multiple agencies were on the scene, including the Sheriff's Office's SWAT team. Police tell us there is a person in custody, and these precautions were put in place for the safety of the town. All of this remains under investigation, and as we receive updates, we'll update you both here and on our website, rochesterfirst.com. Irondequoit Town Councilwoman Patrina Freeman and her attorney say Irondequoit Town Supervisor Rory Fitzpatrick slammed a door on Freeman's wrist as she was leaving a board meeting. Freeman is calling for the supervisor to resign and said in a news conference that she has been experiencing, quote, escalating issues of harassment and intimidation over the past 14 months. In a statement, the town supervisor denies the accusations, saying it's a distraction from other business, including the 2023 budget.
News 8 is your local election headquarters. A new Siena poll released shows Republican Congressman Lee Zeldin is closing the gap between him and Governor Kathy Hochul in race for governor. Zeldin is now 11 points behind Governor Kathy Hochul. That's down from a 17-point deficit 3 weeks ago.
Democrat Hochul still maintains a double-digit lead with 52% of likely voters indicating their support for the incumbent, compared to 41% of those same voters choosing Zeldin. Also, according to the poll, Hochul's favorability has pulled back slightly, with 45% of voters favoring her, compared to a favorability rating of 47% during the last survey. Although Zeldin's favorability grew, there's still a greater percentage of voters who share a negative view of him at 41%, while 37% say they have a positive view of Hochul's challenger.
And speaking of the governor's race, this Friday night, October 21st, we will be airing a gubernatorial forum between Governor Kathy Hochul and her Republican challenger, Congressman Lee Zeldin. That's from 8 to 9 p.m. And due to that forum, SWAT will air overnight at 1:37 a.m. after the Late Show with James Corden.
That chill in the air today means winter is coming, and that usually means an increase in your energy bills. RG&E and NYSEG said that over the winter, the electricity natural gas delivery service rates are expected to remain the same, and that's the good news. However, RG&E is saying the cost of natural gas, the commodity itself, will be going up, and you will see that reflected in your bills.
What we're seeing is that it looks like there's an average of $18 more per month from December to March for electricity, and it's also projected for $60 more per month for gas due to the supply pricing going up. This is not exclusive to RG&E. This is all utility providers across the U.S. So we understand that customers are feeling the burden, which is why we want to make sure we're promoting options like RGESmartSolutions.com, where customers can receive discounts.
Dasher says they have a promotion right now for smart LED lighting and budget billing. That information can be found on their website.
On the state level this morning, Governor Kathy Hochul has signed a package of bills to strengthen protections for survivors of domestic violence. The new laws ensure guns are taken from abusive partners and the confidentiality of survivors is protected. Assemblymember Sarah Clark, who represents Rochester, sponsored the pair of bills related to firearm access. Hochul calls the 5 new laws common sense.
Let's just get real about this. I mean, talk is nice, but it's not what we need. We need people to know that there's a place for them to go. And when people go to a place, we need to let them know that they're going to be safe and secure. And sometimes it's even making sure that their abuser can't track them down.
The governor says since the start of the pandemic, 1 out of 3 women and as many as 1 out of 4 men have experienced some form of domestic violence. A new report from the state attorney general's office is looking into the role social media played in the Buffalo Tops mass shooting back in May. After a 5-month-long investigation, Attorney General Letitia James says the focus of the report was what mechanisms enabled the shooter to see prior mass shootings, plan his own, and correctly expect that the video and his manifesto would be widely shared. James made several recommendations on this report, including calling on Congress to reform the Communications Decency Act, requiring online platform owners to take steps in preventing violent criminal content from appearing on their sites. We're approaching a year since online sports betting took effect in New York State, and in that time, almost $500 million has been raised. Officials say that's far exceeding any other state. Some of this tax revenue is being reinvested into education, grants for youth sports programs, as well as prevention and treatment programs for gambling addiction. Mike Mazzio, reporter for Legal Sports Report, says the governor is anticipating over $615 million in sports wagering revenue for the 2023 fiscal year.
These numbers are really astronomical. The bill's success and the fact that they're so highly touted will continue to drive that traffic.
Mazzio also says the demand for mobile sports betting was soaring a year ago and legislation was slow to pass. So when it did, he says things took off immediately. According to the state, they've collected $25 million in license fees from 8 mobile sports wagering platform providers. All of the license fees revenue have since been directed to education. Happening today, the man charged in connection with the death of Chi-Li teen Brittany Drexel is scheduled to appear in a South Carolina court.
News 8's Jatira Marsh joins us in studio to give us a quick recap of what we know leading up to today's hearing. Jatira, good morning.
Casey, Amel, good morning. This high-profile case has been a long-standing conversation in our community for the past 13 years. As you mentioned, 62-year-old Raymond Moody is scheduled to appear in South Carolina court today after being charged with the murder of 17-year-old Brittany Drexel. This 13 years after her disappearance. Moody is charged with murder, kidnapping, and first-degree criminal sexual conduct. Moody is accused of strangling Drexel in April of 2009 after sexually abusing the 17-year-old. The Drexel family attended the missing persons conference and held a candlelight vigil in remembrance of their loved one back in May. At that conference, Georgetown County Sheriff Carter Weaver announced after many years of searching, the remains were found and identified through dental records as those of Brittany Drexel. In the studio, Jatira Marsh, News 8.
Jatira, thank you. We will keep you updated as details develop throughout that South Carolina courtroom this morning.